Dan cast women marvelously. I think Grayson and I, in the 4 years that we did the show, we looked at each other after about the third year and said, "Oh God, always see your dark shadows, people." And what happened to our other friends? You know, there was a closeness between the women and their husbands and lovers and all of us, which was, and Dan and Norma as well. The men, I don't really have that much memory of. There were some attractive, some talented. David Selby certainly was is a very talented man. And then was just off some Tennessee farm. And quite interesting person. And Dan discovered Kate Jackson long before Charlie's Angels. She had the first job after she got out of drama school. And she was intuitively very good, but lived over a fish store and was giddy at that point in the game. She was 19. I mean, what else should she have been? And I don't know, it was a fun show, terribly demanding. Grayson's favorite role was Magda the Gypsy. Her family, her grandmother was a real Magyar gypsy. And Grayson was rather proud of Romanian high cheekbones. So Magda, she felt, was somehow dignifying her ethnic qualities. Roger Davis was then married to Jacqueline Smith, who was auditioned. We were hunting a replacement for Alexandra Moltke, and as the lead, and so Dan immediately thought Jacqueline Smith was so beautiful and we must have her, but he didn't like her readings, and so we never hired her. And she went on to stardom in Charlie's Angels and in other movies of the week, and had her own clothing line. Now, I have originally become friends again with the original heroine of the series, Alexandra von Moltke, who left acting after Dark Shadows and who was quite beautiful and terribly, terribly innocent. She was a society girl who Dan had the sense to hire as soon as she got out of finishing school. And she was enchanting as the heroine. And now I'm not going to say what her age is, but she's equally enchanting and terribly happy and not sorry at all to have given up acting. And I said to her the last time I saw her, "I'm terribly afraid that I ruined your acting career by writing those terrible lines for you." And she said, "No, I loved the lines, I loved you, I hated acting." So I thought, well, that is a very good reason not to go on. But she's quite beautiful now. And isn't it nice that these women are, all of the women I know from Dark Shadows are still lovely. Dan Curtis, who had never directed the first Dark Shadows movie, which Gordon and I wrote, and Dan announced about a month, MGM was doing it, and he had somehow conned MGM to letting him direct. He'd never directed before. So he directed a week of the shows before he did the movie. And of course, with him directing, he could go 12 hours overtime, which he would never let any other director do, because it was his money, and he was going to get it right. And he did. And he walked in the movie set the first day of shooting at the Jay Gould estate in Tarrytown. And he said, everyone was all assembled waiting, and Grayson was in the first scene. And he looked around at the cameraman, and he said, well, shoot. And Grayson gave him the right word, and he said it. And the whole thing started. But he was phenomenal in the way he did direct. And the actors loved him directing them. He was terribly appreciative and terribly kind of inspiring, which he was much harsher on writers and the crew than he was on the actors. And I once asked him why, and he said, Sam, there's only two things I cannot do, and one of them is write music. And he stayed with Bob Cobert, who does all of his music, I think, and has ever since Dark Shadows. And he's a very talented man. But Dan does not lack confidence, shall we say.